Hello, and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Najla, and I lost my mother October 20th of 2025. And in honor of her, today I am building her this shelf, like this little table, so I can put her urn on it. I am sharing my grief story to bring healing to myself and comfort to others. My mom passed away, like I said, October 20th of 2025. She was born in New Jersey. She was a Scorpio, very spiritual, and she has 6 children. My mother was a cosmetologist, so she did hair majority of her life. She really specialized in braids. I think braids was her favorite thing because she always braided her own hair. But she pretty much did everything. My mom was always independent. She rarely went to the doctor, only for her physicals. And she didn't really believe in taking medications. In fact, she believed more in, herbs and vitamins and just letting the body take its course whenever she felt sick. So, fall of 2024, I was with my mother. I will never forget this. It feels like yesterday whenever I tell this story, but it was probably in September of 2024. I was in the car with my mom. We were going somewhere to get something to eat or something like that. All I remember is that we were by the mall. And my mom went down the wrong side of the road, and I screamed. I said, "Mom, you're going down the wrong side of the road." She said, "What?" And when this happened, I knew immediately something was going on with my mom, because my mom was always sharp, quick-minded, like always quick on her feet, very smart, wise. Like, this wasn't her. And so the rest of the day, me and her talked about it, and she was like, "Well, I think that they changed the street. Maybe they put new street signs or something there." And I said, "No, Mom, that street has always been that way. And, we've been living in this area for a long time. So I don't think they changed the street." And she called me later that night, and she said, "Me going down the opposite side of the road really bothered me, and I'm scared." And at that moment, I knew, sorry, I'm trying not to cry, y'all. I knew something wasn't right with my mom's memory, especially with my background of working in the medical field and with individuals who have dementia and Alzheimer's. I automatically went to that conclusion that, is my mom having early stages of dementia? I called my sister, and I was just crying. I was bawling, and she's like, "Okay, just calm down, maybe it's her menopause. Maybe she was having a bad day, And I was like, "No, it's not that. It's something wrong with Mom. Something's wrong with Mom. I can feel it." I'm a very intuitive person. And for the most part, some of the things that I pick up on, 90% of the time is right. So when I had that feeling, I scared myself because I knew what was going to happen. I knew the long-term effect of everything. So, long story short, my mom's memory began to get worse. She was forgetting how to spell certain words. She was repeating herself. She was forgetting that she would have customers on certain days. Just like little things like that I was picking up on. Sometimes I would ride in a car with her, and she would forget how to get to certain places. Particularly, there was one day we were in the car, and she was supposed to go pick up my daughter from school, and she couldn't remember how to get there. And she said, "Well, how do I get there?" And I said, "Mom, what do you mean? Just hop on the freeway." And she's like, "Well, how do I do that?" And so now at this point, I had already come to terms that my mom was having memory loss, because, like I said, it was getting worse. Fast forward to, I would say now this is about January of 2025. Mind you, I started noticing these symptoms of 2024, fall of 2024. It progressed very fast in January of 2025. Now my mom was forgetting how to eat with utensils. We went to a restaurant. We was at the airport, and she couldn't walk as fast anymore. She was using her straw to try and eat food. She couldn't remember how to Zelle money, use her cards. Her cards kept getting locked up because she couldn't remember her password. We had to keep calling the banks to change the password. So at this point, my mom was progressing really fast. And because my mom was always a strong, independent woman, and she didn't like going to the doctors, trying to get her to go to the doctor to get diagnosed was so hard. It was like pulling teeth. Me and my siblings all tried. She didn't want to go. She kept denying it. And it got to the point where one day it got so bad that she had to go to a psychiatric hospital because we thought maybe, okay, is she having a mental break? There's a long story behind that, but they ended up not finding anything wrong with her psyche, and which I already knew, but I'm kind of happy that she did go because that allowed me to get the referral for her to go to see the neurologist. We went to go see the neurologist in, I would say, maybe May. Probably May or no, February, sometime in there of 2025. She did the memory test. She was very cooperative because now at this point, she's needing more help with going down the stairs. I tried to take her walking. She was stumbling. She couldn't remember how to use her phone. So now at this point, she's allowing me to actually help her because she can see herself declining. We went to the neurologist. She failed the memory test. The neurologist referred her to get a MRI. They found on her brain that she had a lot of lesions and holes in her brain. Please excuse me if I'm not using the right terminology, but she got a spinal tap done, and the spinal tap confirmed that she had Creutzfeldt-Jacobs disease. Excuse me if I'm pronouncing it wrong, but it's also known as CJD. I'll put it up here on the screen, and it's basically a progressive, aggressive form of dementia. My mom was diagnosed in April of 2025, and she passed away in October 20th of 2025. Watching my mom be sick was the hardest thing because I felt like it was torture. Now, not only was I'm going to be grieving her transition, but now I was grieving her being alive. Watching her go from being independent, driving, doing hair, taking her grandkids out to eat, to now being in a wheelchair, being bedbound, can't feed herself, forgetting how to say certain words, losing her memory, forgetting which one of her kids are, forgetting her kids' names. It was very traumatic. I was actually with my mom when she passed away on her bed. And I knew when she got that diagnosis that I couldn't change the diagnosis, but I could make her feel good every day. So that's what I decided to do until she took her last breath. We went out to eat at fancy restaurants. I would put her in her wheelchair, get her dressed up. We'd go eat at the fancy restaurants, one called the Ram, and sit by the water. I would take her to go get her nails done until she couldn't do that anymore. I would take her to the hair store and let her pick out wigs. We would go clothes shopping. She would go with us whenever I took my kids out to go play. She would just go, sit in her wheelchair and watch the kids play. It's been a difficult journey, y'all. I'm not going to lie. And like I said, sharing my story brings healing for me. Some of the ways that I am coping with my mother's transition is I am in therapy. I go to therapy once a week now, just because the aftermath of dealing with grief has been so much on me. There's so much that I can't even tell you guys, dealing with family members and certain things and business affairs and just people's behaviors. And I kind of have some anger built in me towards certain people. And going to a therapist really helps me with talking about my emotions and how to deal with certain individuals and set boundaries. I also been going for walks by the water, going to the gym. It has been my hugest outlet for me. And I also joined a Christmas play. It's a Christmas production because singing and acting is another outlet for me, and I felt like it can help me get out of my head. But they say that grief comes in different stages, and I can't really say what stage I'm in right now. Each day is a new stage. Some days I'm angry, some days I'm in acceptance of my mom's transition, some days I'm in denial, some days I'm trying to bargain and I'm like, okay, what could I have done better? So literally, y'all, I just been taking it day by day. That's all that I can do. But I just wanted to share my story because I know that sharing my story not only brings healing to myself, but it also brings healing to others. And I hope that by me sharing my grief journey and my story, that it will encourage someone else and also bring healing to you. Thank you for watching, and I'll be sure to upload again soon.